Hello and welcome to Leagues Behind. Why, it's the official vodcast of the Arena Gauntlet League, wherein we look back at league offerings, tournaments we've already run. We check out the rule set, we check out the experience, and together, my guests and I decide whether we got it right the first time or whether there's something that we would improve upon if we were to run a similar tournament in the present or the future. I'm Christopher York. I'm the founder of the AGL, the tournament organizer, and the host of Leagues Behind. Today, I have some very special guests to help me discuss the Neon Dynasty Partners Tournament. It's the winners of that tournament. I'm very excited to welcome John P. and Chris R. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello.
Would you care to introduce yourself?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, just take a moment and maybe establish your bona fides to our audience.
I'm good at that. I'll go first. I am John P. Goku or Go Home, the pride of Mardu. I'm your John DeMarco. I am a 6-time top 8er, a 2-time league winner. This was the 2-time. This was time 2. Neo Partners. One time I got to come on your podcast and talk about it. I can't wait. I'm super excited.
John is notably the host of our sister podcast, Hunt the Week, which I'm sure is well known to our listeners. Perhaps less well known is Chris R. and his podcast Bona Fides. You've also done a little casting yourself, I think, haven't you, Chris?
Yeah, it's true. I think I have maybe the third most podcasts for the league. In that John set us up for the one time that we won. We did a whole little shtick where I posted or I was the host of the Pass Down. That was the name of the league, the podcast, and John ran some clips for me, and we did a whole thing. Like, John had never been on a podcast before. We interviewed him. But that's my bona fides. I've top 8'd once, I won it once, and it was with my buddy John. So I got nothing else to go on besides that. I think I might have the most ninth place finishes if we could go back in the history of the league. I got like 3 or 4 of those.
It's not a stat you want to have, though.
So,
the most ninth place finishes. It's
a
little rough.
I'll make a special roll for you with an envelope emoji. And just say on the envelope. Look, or just outside the envelope. People are clamoring for more Cast Down. I don't know what you're waiting for, Chris.
You filed the complaints with John. He's the mastermind by that whole thing. I'm ready to go. Yeah.
If one of us can get it together and win a league, we'll do something special again. But we got to earn that. Those don't just happen.
That's holding our whole community ransom. That's this course of.
It happened once. It can happen again. It was, 2+ years ago was the last time we were able to do it. So we've hit a dry streak, but we can break it.
You're due.
We can break it.
You're due for a win.
We're due.
It's the gambler's fallacy, right?
Exactly.
I'm ready to do it. I paid for a cameo for that podcast. I don't know if anybody remembers that. But.
I remember that. You paid for somebody who was in Lord of the Rings to do just talk about us.
You see the production value.
He got the script wrong too, but it was totally worth it.
Did you
Which is
back?
more than I've ever done. I've never put money into Hunt the Week. That's more than more money than I've put into a thing. That's great.
It was fun.
Well, John, if you're the producer, if the talent's ready, you have to support. You've got to be the wind under his wings. He's ready. He's ready.
If we get enough clamoring, I'll do that. If this video gets 30 likes, we'll do another episode of Cast Down. Give this video 30 likes, share it with your friends.
I tell you what,
bring it back.
I tell you what, if I ever break 3 figures for this vodcast, I will do a special effect. I will have like a little gif of a bunny jump across the screen or something. That's my vow to our viewership.
I love it. So are you saying if you get 3 count watchers, subscribers?
Yes, if we break 100, that would surpass all records so far. So if we do that, you'll get a GIF or a sprite or a bouncing ball. come across
I'm
the
just gonna,
screen.
I'm gonna leave this on repeat for a day.
Yeah.
We'll get it, Chris.
F5. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, we got it.
It'll be the saddest special effect you've ever seen, but I'll make a gesture. That's my promise to our viewership. So far, I think we're a country mile away from monetization, but that's not why we do it. We do it because we love the Arena Gauntlet League and we love talking about it. So let's get into your victory. Let's talk about the specifics of Neon Dynasty Partner League. I'm going to start off with saying I hated this tournament. It's just that's
I get it.
No.
I get it. I was miserable during this tournament, and I won it. This tournament stressed me out so much. The team ones always do,
Right?
but like this was a super stressful experience.
Let's talk
Like,
about that.
really stressful.
I'll discuss the rules, but then we can get into the subjective nature of your stress. So, the things that I thought maybe made this not the tournament for me. This was a so-called mono set league, which I, just by my character, don't like as much as the Chaos ones, because the strategies are limited to what's in the set. It's more samey gameplay patterns, and even if you got a good set like Neon Dynasty, you have a very limited palette of cards to draw from. I also thought we came back to Neon Dynasty as a set too soon. Like the year previous, I think we did the regular Neon Dynasty tournament, so coming back to the well so soon to this resource felt early to me, considering we have lots of sets that we've never gone back to with equal or better claim to the attention. There are full sets on Arena that we've never done the Arena Gauntlet League for. We've done the physical Gauntlet League for, but never the Arena Gauntlet League. So I always have the idea in my back of my mind, like we still have to explore some of that digital real estate that we haven't gotten to yet. So I did feel like we returned to the well too soon. And it's also an accelerated league. So it's a 3-week league, which means that we try out some of the wackier things in it, which isn't bad in itself. But it always means these tournaments are, relatively speaking, underattended. To that point, there were only 56 players in this tournament, not to cheapen your victory. And you were 2 of them. So, just doing...
Wow. So there's only, 23 teams?
That is correct, yes. Dividing by 2, we can do some quick napkin math and see there were 23 teams in contention. Now, these days, even when we sort of hit a rough set like Spider-Man, we're still getting 200 people. So roughly 4 times the size of this. And if you consider the fact that people are playing in partners, I guess that you double that. It was probably 8 times the size of this tournament, really, in terms of competitive units. So this was small. It was heavy on Neon Dynasty. And to John's earlier point, it was stressful. Let's get into your subjective experience of the tournament and how you felt this might have been a pressure cooker. Now, I know that your friendship predates your collaboration on this tournament. Did it create any stress and friction? Or is that what you're getting at? Was there some turmoil in the team?
I don't think there's any animosity towards each other. Like I know Chris in real life. We play Magic in real life. We will travel and meet up and play in team Magic tournaments, and we have for years now. So team Magic is something that we specifically do together.
Right.
So it's always great when we have these tournaments because I love team Magic. It's super fun, and I love playing Magic with my buddies. It's also super fun, right? But League is different than a team Magic tournament. It's a different experience in almost every single way. Because when you go and play team Magic, you're usually playing teams of 3. You sit by each other, you all play at the exact same time, and you help each other. And everything happens simultaneously. Whereas League is the opposite of that. It's we get our packs, we got to split them. Then we got to play our games.
Right.
And we can't. It doesn't make any sense to play at the same time. You can't help each other if you do, really. So you can't do that. But also, I'm going to go on so many rants here about Team League, so I'll try to not go on too many. But like you said, there's 23 people. But when I'm playing, Chris isn't playing. So, or 23 teams. But when I'm playing, half of my team's not going to be playing the other match. So matches are always really hard to find. or at least I remember it feeling like you'd sit in the bot for an hour. It's just it's so time consuming. You got to spend time splitting the pools. You got to spend time practicing the decks. You got to spend time sitting in the bot. I got to be there when Chris is there. Chris has to be there when I'm there. We have to match each other's schedule. You don't have to, but if you don't,
it's not optimized.
Not the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's not. You don't play in a team league to go, hey man, get your games in on Tuesday. I'll play mine Thursday, and we'll meet up Friday. See how we did. Like that's not what we're here to do. And then there's also like me and Chris are different kinds of deck builders, different kinds of players. I remember Keeper Mulligan arguments at almost every game. Like almost every game where I'm like, that's a mull, and he's like, snap keep. I'm like, what? And it's like we got the timers on, which is super stressful. I don't know. You got anything to say, Chris? I feel like I'm just
Don't worry, Chris. I've deafened John. He can't hear you. You can speak freely. You can tell me the real story now. Do you really fit together like hammer and anvil, or it's a bit more dissensus in this situation?
It's a lot of consensus, but it's funny because John's very easygoing and just his general demeanor. But when the timer's on and when it's like, we got to get these matches in, it's a little bit different. And so we did have to navigate that. Some of my favorite memories of that league is I'd be like, hey John, removal on this thing, or whatever the scenario was, and he'd be like, dude, there are 11 minutes left. You have to go. And I'm like, I think that's a lot of time.
There is a lot of me. Like, the last thing I want to do is lose to time. I will be so upset if we lose to time. So, like, when it gets close, I'm just like, I won't even help, man. Just play with your heart. Do what you got to do. Just don't time out. That's all that matters. Like, don't time out.
Okay, so
we have different thresholds but I do think from, like, a community engagement point, all these discussions were streamed on the Discord, right? Yeah. So any game we played and we had to discuss through, that's I think for me, my game, mulligan decisions is like my biggest league. I hate to mulligan. I always think I'll draw into it or whatever. And so anything from that point on, we're all discussing it. So I think that was like one of the boons of this league was like, listening to all these players go through their thing. And even if you don't think they made the right decision, like there's the discussion about it, right? That's even better than watching a streamer say what they're doing. It's like, no, you're watching someone who is probably pretty good at Magic talk to their buddy about how to do it. Like, I think that was such a cool thing that came with this league.
Yeah, I think it was an opportunity for a lot of players to level up, or at least witness how others level up or how they work as a team. And I don't doubt that your previous experience doing paper leagues together probably gave you an edge on the competition. People that just met on the server and hadn't met in real life probably took longer to negotiate things like deck building and mulligans and in-play decisions. And I bet you that lack of familiarity probably made them be more polite than they should have in insisting on certain lines and therefore play suboptimally or build suboptimally. And that comes through in the tournament results, no doubt. To maybe contextualize your comments, I'm going to talk about the rules for this tournament. So we had partners, and partners shared a life total, by which I mean that both players were simultaneously eliminated if their team reached a combined total of 11 losses. So normally in a 6-week league, you'll play your matches out 5 per week, and you come to a personal threshold 11 and are eliminated. For the sake of simplicity, we played a 3-week league where both players had to play 5 matches each. So it was like we took a 6-week league and just compressed it down. It was the same amount of matches being played, but only if you consider yourselves as a unit to be one player. So it was a bit like we kind of chain-ganged partners together in terms of their losses. So there was lots of motivation to make sure that your partner made the right decision, because how you prized out, or if you prized out, depended on how they did. So partners shared a team score. Both players had wins and win percentages, and opponent match win percentages. All these things were combined. So there was a harmonized score as opposed to an individual score. And as John noted and Chris noted, partners could give each other in-play in-game play advice and finals drafting advice. And another thing, which never came up, I don't think, in this tournament, probably due to its size and the fact that mostly it's enfranchised players that take part in the short accelerated leagues. If one partner drops or is DQ'd from the tournament, the entire team is dropped or disqualified. So that you're all in with your partner, which maybe makes these kinds of tournaments less appealing to non-enfranchised players or people who aren't embedded in the community at the time of launch. That might be one sort of thing to note when we start to critique the rules. Talking about the rest of the particulars, there was a mechanic called Channel, where players could choose one card per punishment pack, we still call them punishment packs back in the days, and immediately channel it to their partner's card pool instead of their own. That's to make sure that, basically resources weren't left on the table. If you're not playing those colors, you could basically ship your rare to your partner so they could use them. You had to fill out a form to register the cards that you were taking out of your punishment pack. And we also had something called Reconfigure, which was something that only happened twice in the tournament. So at the end of each week of play, partners can re-merge their pools. Remember, we had one starting pool of 8 packs of Neon Dynasty to split between 2 players to make a 60-card deck. And of course, you're going to be getting packs as you accumulate losses, both of you. And at the end of each week of play, again, so at the end of week 1, at the end of week 2, really only 2 opportunities to do this, you put all the cards back in together and you basically renegotiate who gets what. And that's a way to make sure nothing is wasted from those packs and that you're both playing optimal decks without it getting too confusing. And without it without there being some sort of automatic decision. Like, you'll get all this color, I'll get all that color from here to the end of the league. So just make sure you could play a different deck archetype or different deck color. If the cards were leading you that way, you could respond to the developments. And finally, we had Saga Draft. So following the main tournament, we had all the sets that at that time in history had sagas, which were Neon Dynasty, Dominaria, Theros Beyond Death, Kaldheim, Dominaria United, and March of the Machine. And that was our so-called Saga Draft for the finals, which you would have played in. So now that we've laid out the rules of the tournament, have I jogged your memory anymore about those mechanics? And if I could get your feedback on them, anything that you see is just on the surface automatically problematic, or that you think was a good fit for a so-called partner tournament, which I think this was our first one of. I think it was our first partners tournament. We had team tournaments, I believe, before, and also faction tournaments. We'd never done a partners tournament, so this might have been our first shot at this. Are the rules golden as is, or is there anything you would improve upon on due reflection?
Yeah, looking back at this, I did forget about the channel mechanic. And I don't really remember that playing a big part into it. I know it was good to have.
Yeah.
You got something, Chris?
Yeah, let me jump in on this because this was a big part of our strategy, actually. So we had to split the pools, and we had a very obvious great blue-black deck that we decided that. The good deck, right?
Who got to drive the nice car?
Common.
I got the good deck, and Chris got everything else.
Aww.
Yeah.
Which was kind of the plan.
But it was great. It worked out. I think we had a decision to make in terms of like how the league was designed and how the mechanics worked. Was okay, this is our best deck. We're gonna give it to John, and he's gonna run out all of his 5 matches first, right? Because you mentioned that
that's right.
Each of us had to play. And so we knew that deck was good, and it was unlikely to be as helped as the quote-unquote bad deck. And so we got together. John ran all of his 5 matches out. John ended up I went back through the spreadsheet, which is amazing that these things you can still go through. John had 5 losses total. There were only 5 channels the whole time, and they were all John to me. Okay. And I played all of my matches after John, and it was just he had blue-black, I had everything else, and so it was just the best card that he opened. He shipped it over to my pool. It was green or white, and it could be a Spirited Companion, which was great, but like not a bomb, or it could be like a I don't remember all the sagas, but Sage of Reaches Skyward, I think we shipped over some other stuff that was like pretty good, and so that we had something that we had a decision to make, and I think it was like simple, but like a nice, elegant design in terms of like how the league was going to go, and so I thought it was great as far as how it was put together.
And it sounds like your strategy was pretty brilliant, right? Lead with your best troops, right, and then have them feed cards backwards into the weakest deck, thereby optimizing the performance of the weakest deck. It looks like that probably had a lot to do with how you performed as a team, right? The fact that someone was willing to just take, you were able to negotiate those roles pretty seamlessly and agree on a harmonized strategy.
Yeah, and I remember, since I was that was one of the downsides of it being all Neo, is that pretty much everybody had like a blue black zombies or ninjas deck, and everybody had like a green white enchantments deck. Like those were the two big decks. So it's like you were either running into one or the other, like again and again and again.
People called it the Spider-Man of its day.
There are a lot of parallels. If we wanted to talk about how the Spider-Man League is set up, it's like if we did a similar thing, it would be who's the spider, green, white, whatever, and who's got the villain discard thing. I could see it being quite similar if we did, a Spider-Man version of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Which maybe speaks to the fact that you do want to have a sort of basic quotient of offset packs to stop, or at least let's say reduce the chances of these monotonous deck archetypes taking over the meta.
Well, I think that it didn't get monotonous in the 3-week partner league. I didn't think anyway.
Right.
And this is a way to do it, right? If we have a short, a small set coming up where, Spider-Man turns out you can't even play red basically, so it's really constricted. But this would be a way to do it. And I feel like if the rules that were applied to the partners league were applied to, like we did a Spider-Man partners, I think it would be like a home run again. Like I feel like it really was a good design, and it would be something if Wizards gives us another small set, which I assume they're going to keep doing.
They will, yeah.
Like y'all should maybe.
There's at least 2 on the horizon, I think.
Like it might be a way to do it, and I also think with the league being as large as it is now, you can't do a small league with 15 games because you're going to have 40 people that are 11-4, and then what do you do? So like adding additional games to it, like as a partner, as a team, it seems like a way to kind of separate that out. And I think you could revisit this, and I think it would go well.
I think so too. I mean, I know that I had Stephen H. Craith on the podcast the other week. He was talking about how he wants to bring back partner leagues, and I'm a known hater of team and partner leagues. Again, they stress me out. They stress me out a lot. They take up a lot of my time.
But you're a fan of factions, John. You're a fan of the faction leagues.
But I don't got to be there for every match for every person in the faction. When me and Chris play, we were just talking, trying to remember this. Like we played like pretty much every match together except for like the last couple, just because like we couldn't like meet up, and like it feels like such a detriment to have to play a game without your teammate. Like knowing your opponent is playing with their person, like you feel behind. Right. Like even just having him there to be like, yeah, they're on 3 white, they could have this card, or this card. Like, oh, watch out for this instant. Because we had the opponent's pools, we could talk about stuff like that, and like it's super helpful, and it is very community engaging. Like those are the best leagues to watch are team leagues. Like
yes,
they're so fun. Like you learn a lot, and like people are always playing, and like they're always streaming because you have to talk to your teammates. So like it's entertaining. It's very entertaining.
I agree.
And I think we would have a lot more people do one of these now too. Like there's a lot more people. Even I don't know what a main league was getting 2 years ago, but even they weren't breaking 100 every league,
Right.
So, and then when you have a team league, it's like, well, not everyone comes in. You're right. It's a short league. People skip those, and you kind of got to do this with a buddy. If you don't have a buddy, it's a little awkward and weird. But even these days, there's been so many people added in, and like, I bet
And
if we did like
players who have the
a
chance to
team,
do this too, right? That'll be
yeah,
that'll be a
and like,
novelty to them.
yeah, we haven't done these. We haven't done one of these in a while now, so it's going to be like a new and exciting thing. Although I will say on when it comes to the reconfigure, I don't think that really mattered because like the whole time it was like I'm blue black, you're everything else. That's how we split it. It does like I don't think we really spent much time. Maybe a couple artifacts or something here and there, but like I don't think, which is good. Again, it's time consuming, so I like that part kind of got taken away in this. We don't have to meet up for an hour or two every week and say like, who's getting the bombs? Who's getting who's what are you splashing this? I could splash like. Again, I love talking Magic, but it's so I can only put so many hours into League in a week. Like I remember us playing again and again and just being like, man, my girlfriend's gonna kill me. I'm walking away for like the third time this week to go play Magic. Because you'd go in the bot and like you'd meet up and it wouldn't happen. So we would meet up again and again and again.
That's right.
So
because
it's even more
instead of 2 people lining up their schedules, you need to have 4 people whose schedules line up for a match to happen.
Exactly.
And this was a smaller league than usual, so the odds of that happening were even smaller. And like you say, instead of like dedicating, say, 5 hours a week to getting your matches in, if you're committed to co-piloting properly, you're dedicating 10 hours a week now. It's a doubling of your, play obligations, let's call them, for lack of a better term, which can be onerous, right? There's a reason that in the regular leagues we don't insist that people play 10 matches a week, although some people I'm sure would be happy to put the time in to do that. It's so that people don't have to, commit entire days to this tournament series and still stay involved and have a reasonable chance of placing. So, yeah, I think that these partner leagues are better suited for accelerated 3-week experience as opposed to a full 6-week experience because of that intensity. But I do think, maybe counter your point a little bit, John. Some people probably enjoy this intensity more than you claim to at this moment. Like I think some people probably thrive under this some people are looking for a more intense experience, and we're always trying to, please the segments of our player base that don't necessarily get coverage in the main tournaments. So I guess that different strokes for different folks, and I think this probably hits a certain kind of personality type exactly where they like to be hit.
Yeah, I can see that. Different strokes for different folks.
Indeed, indeed. And they're not my favorite kinds of tournament either, because I think that, if I'm being honest, I'm not a try-hard anymore. I used to be a try-hard in Magic, and now I feel like if I take on a partner role with somebody in a tournament, I'm a shackle on their ankle. I'm going to drag them to the bottom of the lake with me. And some players might not like that. So if they choose me as a partner in the tournament, they better have a very stoic, sort of character. Whatever happens, happens.
I mean, I think some of the best Magic games I've watched have been you in team leagues with partners and everyone just fighting with each other about everything. Like you'll have opponents there and be like, "Why is that in your deck, Chris? I told you not to put that in," and you're like, "I put it in." It's just like, it's so funny.
I suppose maybe that's another thing. I'm a bit of an individualist, right? Nonconformist. So it doesn't play well with others, right? It might be one of the ways to describe me. Avoid. And
I specifically remember you with Ryan D. the Slickness.
Yep, exactly.
John's nemesis in the league, but your partner for this specific tournament. Some of the best viewing that we've ever had in the league was you two discussing
roasting
whatever
each other?
you decided to do. Yeah, I mean, it was great.
I think
you and Ryan are great players, but you guys, I'm not trying to bring it up, but you guys had a terrible league. You were like 1-11, something like that.
Yeah,
and it was fun to watch.
We should have called our team Vinegar and Water, vinegar or oil and water. We just did not find the chemistry that made it work. But to the point, it made for great viewing, maybe, right?
Oh, it was we're still talking about you guys and like what 2 years later, I still remember those games and like think about how funny they were.
I
Like,
think
they were
Ryan
great.
still
They were real-
suffers from PTSD from that. I think that's part of the reason he's sort of
Yeah.
stepped back from a
He
more
doesn't,
active role in
doesn't play as
tournaments.
much anymore.
Yeah, doesn't-
Yeah, he left
doesn't-
after that. How could he?
But wasn't this also
he
the
never,
league
he
where
never,
we
he never talked the same after the accident.
didn't we have a couple games come down to like seconds on the timer?
We
Oh,
did.
sure. I'm sure there were.
Yeah, we did.
And that's such a unique thing too, where I love the timer.
Oh, no.
Anytime someone brings me to a league game that goes over an hour, I'm like, what are you doing? I need to finish this game.
Right.
And I think there's like it's just we don't do it because people disconnect, and I get it. I understand why we don't do that normally. But when you're discussing, you need to put some constraints on it. And I mean, it made for some very interesting games and some great viewing.
Yeah, it's some great experiences. Like the adrenaline rush you get when you got like less than a minute left on the clock, and you have like one more turn to win or shuffle off the mortal coil. Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. That's a huge rush when you make it. It's a huge slam on your nuts when you don't. I agree. I mean, I'm not a fan of the timer normally in normal league situations, but in the case of partners, just to make the experience more humane for everybody involved, I do think it's merciful that there's a timer, right? Because as we've seen in other tournaments, people will otherwise just let time drag and really pontificate on their decisions past the point of most people's assessment of what's reasonable. So yeah, I do think in this kind of situation, I'm a fan of timers. John, I saw your head shake. No, you're against this.
Well, they have to be there. They have to be there in a team league. Like, there's no discussion about it.
Okay.
But again, they stress me out. It's a thing. It's a ticking clock, and it's sometimes it's not about the game of Magic. It's about the game of time. And like sometimes you play the time game where you're like, I don't know, man, just start activating everything you can, make them use their clock. Like we're trying to win a different way now. Like I never like it when it gets to that,
Yeah.
Because I want to play the game. But again, it's just
But
I've never lost to time.
Yeah.
Oh, and I don't want to.
This isn't every tournament though. Like, so for example, would it be fair to say that it's all right for different kinds of tournaments to test different kinds of skills?
Oh yeah.
Right. So like,
definitely.
who can build, let's say the most beautiful bit of architecture in their career, and who can design the most interesting building in 30 minutes? Those are two different kinds of architectural, competitions, but they might both have their merits, and they might both have products that are interesting in their own right.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
So timers sometimes, and this is maybe one of the situations where it's
They
good.
have to be.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like if we had chess timers like MTGO has, I would say all the time.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Again, I hate getting to long matches, and so if you disconnect and you can reconnect and you've lost 4 minutes or whatever, okay, let's keep playing.
Better have your tech in order.
But
if you're
the
gonna
way
play
the
Chris.
timers are set up now, it's not fair to do it like that, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, like our community has a fairly good ethos and relation with itself, so there's not many people, say, using people's time poorly in bad faith, or there's no roping, I don't think, that goes on in the vast majority of games, and I don't think there's many, if any, intentional disconnects in that kind of shenanery, at least not that I'm aware of. All right, let's go back to the rule set and sort of a bit away from the subjective and off to the objective. Just looking at the way this tournament ran, are there any modifications that you'd recommend for the rule set? Or perfect as is? Chef's kiss. Wow.
So
I think those are pretty good.
I thought they were back through, and I think Sawyer was the lead designer. Is that right, Chris?
That sounds right. Yeah, I mean this
I
one.
think so.
Yeah.
So thumbs up. Again, I think there was interesting decisions. It was simple, but it was the decision you had to make were worthwhile, and I mean, for what it was supposed to be, I think it was kind of a home run. The channel mechanic was great. Reconfigure was very flavorful based on the mechanics of the set. I think that's kind of how you would want to do something like this, no matter what you called it.
Right.
Um,
So even though your
but
team didn't use that option, you think it's a good option to have. Like, let's say, for example, you made a bad decision in week one, you might want a chance to reverse that if you, at the beginning of week two, you might want a chance to sort of reassess if you weren't doing as well as you were.
Absolutely, and I think if it happened to be a set where there were more viable archetypes, that could shift very quickly with two rares that are opened. Maybe you shift from blue-black to blue-red or something like that,
Right.
I don't think that was going to happen as much in this one, but yeah, I think you want to have that stop set in where you get back together with your partner, you figure it out again. Just because we kind of did the same separation every time, we still had some decisions to make. Like there was a sky turtle we had to figure out who was gonna like
Oh yeah.
take and stuff like that, which was green blue, which wasn't what we were playing, stuff like that. So I mean I thought it was great.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think you need a way to give each other cards at the end of the week, because if I'm opening up packs, but I don't want them, like I need to be able to ship some stuff to like channel's nice because you can do it in the moment. But at the end of the week, it's nice to be like, hey man, here's all the fun goodies I got for you that you can add in, and what do you got for me?
Okay, so if I'm understanding you correctly, this was a home run. 10 out of 10 would play again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, worked out great for us. So
Again,
you asked?
it did stress me out a lot, but I would do it again. I would.
See, this is.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that maybe it's a selection bias kind of issue. Like by selecting the players that did the best in the tournament, reducing the sort of font of potential criticisms that we could receive. We probably. I probably want to get Ryan on here to really discuss the flaws in the tournament design.
I was gonna say we're talking this the team that half the team that ended up near the bottom. So I mean, you can speak to the other side to yourself too, right?
Ryan, leave your comments at the bottom of this video on YouTube.
I would love if Ryan's entrance music just cued, the glass breaking, and he comes in now.
Like
Let me tell you something, Chris York.
Yeah, if this were like a wrestling show, he'd come in with a 2x4 over his shoulder and the flag wrapped around his neck. Yeah, that would.
But I mean,
if
but
we
truly
had
though,
higher
like
production
Chris,
value, that
what
would
did
be
you
good.
think?
Well, like I say, this was probably a low point in terms of my performance and a low point in terms of my enjoy. People might have enjoyed watching me struggle in this tournament, but being me in this tournament was probably less fun. I think the only thing that saved me was my sense of humor. Otherwise, I probably still feel real salty about this. I think, I don't know, if I put more time into it, if I had more again, I think that the choice that was, at this point, I think the LC had voted for a mono set accelerated league. I think if there was just a little window of hope that there were other cards coming in, it would have kept my interest more, and I could have put more time into strategizing and finding connections between cards. But I think that the problem was for me, if I had to fix this, if my choice would be to make sure that there's enough offset packs to make it interesting, to allow for the kinds of deck building strategies that I like to do, like where I like to spend my time is putting cards together that don't often come together and then seeing what I can make happen. And that's sort of like playing with my Legos, let's call it. If all the Legos are all the same, if they're all just yellow bricks, 2x4, and, you can only make a certain kind of structure with it, I tend to lose a bit of interest. And either the decks are working or they aren't. And in this case, our decks just weren't working. We had reasonable differences of opinion as regards deck building and strategy, which probably didn't help us moving forward as a team. So for me, this was like the perfect storm. It was a disastrous tournament for me. Even that being said, I can see, like, from your comments, I can see the good in it. I can see how it definitely is a unique experience, how it appeals to an important subset of our player base. And again, I think the only major thing that I would change would be to sort of add in more packs from other sets to sort of give more spice to the stew.
I agree with that because, like, I do remember it feeling kind of samey, at least near the end, as some leagues do, where it's like it's ninjas and enchantments, and which one are you gonna queue into? So I would like to see if we do it again, have it not be mono set, or if it is mono set, a set with like really good, strong, different archetypes that like people will go between. Something with a lot of options that
Yeah.
are viable.
Well,
Otherwise, it's ninjas versus enchantments again and again.
yeah, I mean, if you think about it, right, if you start with 8 packs of the set and are adding 20 punishment packs to your team, right, that's a total of 28, yeah? Hold on here. I believe that we have disconnected. I'm trying to reconnect now. We've lost our friends. Let me see if I can reconnect here. Hello,
Hey, you're back.
Oh, we're back.
gentlemen. That was spooky. Let's not do that again. All right. So I think I was saying that if you start off with 8 packs of the main set and then you add 20 more, you're basically splitting almost a box of packs. You're opening up a box of Neon Dynasty and saying, let's make 2 decks out of it. That can be exciting, but it can also be limiting, depending on how big the set is. So I don't know what you think about my comments, but that would be my suggestions for improving it.
Well, we might have been not privy to most of your comments there.
I think I've repeated the most important ones, just that I would add more packs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm with you, but I'm also a big chaos guy too. Like I love chaos, so like, yeah, make this more chaos, and I'm more down.
Right.
Yeah, I loved Chaos too, and I feel like the smaller sets, if that's what we're going towards in the future, are primed for that, and I
Right.
hope the league committee is kind of tracking that, because we're coming off of Spider-Man small set, and it's not that chaosy,
Right.
and we did a huge chaos set of Edge of Eternities, which was a great set, and maybe diluted it where it could have had a little bit more legs, just being a little bit more of what it was rather than being such a plane chase style chaos, going to these different planes type of thing. So
Yeah, I think
I assume y'all are tracking that, and
yeah,
we'll see that
yeah,
reflected in
absolutely.
the future.
I think the issue was that going into Spider-Man, and it's hard not to talk about Spider-Man, even though everyone's sick about talking about Spider-Man. It's hard to get off of it at the moment because we're still in that tournament.
Yeah.
The feeling that I get, that I had when we were designing that particular tournament experience was that, well, there's going to be new cards, and people are going to want to play with those cards, and we are just coming off of Edge of Eternities, which was chaos-y. So let's try to give this set more of a chance to breathe. Now, that's a gamble, and you got to remember that when we design these tournaments, most of the time, the full set is not revealed, and so it is kind of a shot in the dark, right? We're just throwing our darts at the board. The board is an indeterminate distance away, and the darts are all shaped differently, right? and you're also being thrown out of a cannon by Wizards of the Coast because they don't do a very good job of informing content creators long ahead of release, and they've got the reasons for that. But it makes our job a little bit more difficult in doing tournament design that is bound to please all. So I suppose that would be my discussion. My mini essay on that topic was that yes, we're watching it, but it's also impossible to completely control how these things come out. In a way, we just have to work with our best guess, or go with what we know. And what we know oftentimes isn't a lot more than your general Magic player does a month before the set releases.
Yeah, absolutely. If I could, like, sort of compare the two tournaments too, in terms of like my feeling as a player of what went well, is the leagues that have a lot of decisions that you make that are outside of like what cards you get,
Right.
feel very important, to me. So like in the Spider-Man League, we're choosing between two packs, but the two packs lead us down a path of the superhero or the supervillain, and my experience was I opened good supervillain packs that had good superhero cards in them, you know?
Right.
And
Weird,
so I
right?
felt like I was making choices that were against my best interest ultimately. Whereas I think the Neo Partners League, with the channel and the reconfigure, is that those decisions didn't feel so.
Binding.
Uh, yes, we had a chance to shuffle things back up and not affect like your overall performance in the tournament as much as what I feel like these have done. And we've had leagues that have made that where you make a decision and you're on one path or you're on, one type of deck or something like that, and a lot of times you feel like you really can't come back from that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. There's something on the horizon that might terrify you then. In January,
Right?
we're launching a choose your own adventure league, which is designed. The main designer is an ex member of the LC. You might be aware of Caleb G.
Oh yeah, why
So
not?
exactly. So you can bug him for further details. I won't spoil too much, but
Ooh,
I'll
that
just
sounds fun.
I'll just say that each choice you make in that tournament will be binding. There won't be any going back from it, and they will have substantial consequences for your future experience in the tournament, and you won't know the ending before you get there. So it might I don't know.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean it is interesting, but it's if what you like is reversible decisions, you might want to steer clear of that tournament. However, if the idea of making blind choices that have unknown ripple effects on your ultimate standing in the tournament, this might be the one for you. But it's like a roller coaster, right? Like once you strap in, you're in for the ride. So you can either enjoy it or you can deeply feel deeply put off by it. But once you're locked in, you're locked in. I'm looking forward to that one as a player myself because he's doing all of the sort of like choose your own adventure style storybook writing. I think right now independently, and so it'll be as much of an adventure for me as it is for everybody else who plays it. So that's a little bit of our league ahead section of the podcast that we do for people who stick around to the very end.
That sounds awesome,
Yeah,
actually.
very cool.
Yeah, so if Avatar is something that doesn't ring your bell, hang on. We got a 3 week accelerated league coming up that is very unique, and one that probably, as I understand it, won't include many, if any, universes beyond cards. It'll be high fantasy once again. Gentlemen, are there any final words you'd like to add on the Neo Partners tournament? It's your last chance
I
to
got
vent
I got to
or
tell the
boast.
Mega Draft story.
Yeah, please do.
It's one of my best stories.
Shoot.
It's so it is the Saga Draft, which is Neo, Dominaria, Theros, Kaldheim, Dominaria United, March of Machine. And we can help each other while we're drafting, right? So like as I'm drafting, I'm kind of although I remember not really it was really hard to help each other during the draft because
It was.
the timers weren't very fast and like he's talking to me while I'm evaluating picks and what I have. I remember it was not easy to help each other.
Right. Chaos.
But
Because there
chaos.
there are 4 teams in the finals, right? And you're one of those. And each one
Yes.
has its own room that they're chatting in, I would guess. And each of those rooms is equally chaotic.
And what Chris opens Dream Trawler, which is a broken magic card. What set is that in? What set did you open that? Is
Theros.
that Dominaria?
I think
It's
that's
Theros? Okay, so it's Theros. So he opens it
One of the cards from that set
three
that
packs
just
in.
broken.
And I it was such a debate of like he had to draft it, but he wasn't in. It's a double pip card. It's more like blue, blue, white, white, something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
And you were like in blue or in white, but not in the other color at all. And I remember being like, "You can't splash." And I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe you were in green, so it was a little easier. But I remember
I was
being
in
like,
green blue. I was in green blue.
and I was like, "You can draft it. You have to draft it because you can't let anybody else get it because we
Correct.
can't beat that card."
Yeah.
But
And
it's
you,
like,
and you
but
had to
you
play
can't
every
play
other
it.
team too, right? So you were going to face
Yep.
that Dream Trawler. There's no way out
Yep.
of it.
And I remember being like, you don't play it. Like, you can't play it. And I'll draft along. I remember being like, yeah, if we'll get there, we'll play it. And like, even at the end, I was like, I just don't think we can play. Like, we can't splash it. It's a double splash, so it's a hard splash. And what happens in that Mega Draft? I had the good deck, right? Like in the main league, the what we call the good deck.
Yeah.
Chris goes 3-0, beats Jordan in the finals with Dream Trawler.
Amazing.
And casting Dominaria's Mending, a saga that he drafted in the saga draft. Meanwhile, I think I might be the only person to go 1-2 and win a Mega Draft. Because like
That is historic.
I didn't do any helping, but I remember because we had to play everybody every round. It wasn't like a normal Mega Draft.
That's right.
Where like it goes up to a point. It was like everybody plays every round and points matter per win, but everybody was losing to each other and winning at the same rate. That we had one good round where we both won, and every other round, every team had a win and a loss. So it got to the end, and it was just one of us had to win the last match, and we would win. Like one of us had to win, and I got knocked out after like a super tight game, and I'm watching Chris, and he plays that Dream Trawler, and he can't believe it. That was the card, and like Bob was commentating. You go back and like, wow, he's got the Dream Trawler.
Against all odds.
So,
and against your advice, importantly.
I know I was proven wrong in the best way, right? Like, if you prove me wrong because what you did wins us the tournament, so happy to be proven wrong.
That's very humble.
And my brother always he gets us a trophy. So my brother bought us this trophy. It says Runaway Teamkin, which was our team name, Neo 2 Partners League Champions, Arena Gauntlet League. And it's two people. One guy beating somebody up.
Are they dancing?
I don't know what they're doing, but my brother made the joke when he gave it to me because he's like, "Yeah, man, Chris carried you through that Mega Draft, going 3-0."
That's hilarious.
So that's the trophy is Chris carrying me.
What you did? It's back over here somewhere.
Is that just when when there was one set of footprints on the beach? That was Chris carrying you?
Exactly. So we always would make the joke that like I had a better record in the regular league, not by much, a little bit better, but Chris had a much better record in the Mega Draft. So you could never say like, oh man, John carried Chris. It's like, no man, Chris, I went 1-2. Chris 3-0'd the Mega Draft. It was all him. It was great.
It's a beautiful story.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
might have been our biggest argument too about like in the whole league.
Oh yeah.
The 5 minutes we had to figure out what our decks were going to be. And I'm like, no, my mana's good. And in my defense, the Kaldheim turn made my entire deck. No one took any snowlands. I had all sorts of great fixing.
Yeah.
And I think it wasn't quite so obvious that it was going to work out okay. But yeah, it was a big discussion, and I feel like it ended with John being like, do whatever, man. I don't know.
Yeah, like, do what you want, man. I got
with that icy disdain in his voice. You do you.
And then I go 1-2 and watch him beat Jordan. Like of all people, he beats like he's got a final boss. He's going up against Jordan, and like, it was great. Like playing with Chris is great. I love it.
Thank God you weren't more rueful, John. It was like, so be it, on your head. In
my mind, I remember you getting Dream Trawler way later in the draft. So seeing that you got it third, it's like, you had plenty of time to figure it out. In my mind, you got it like pack 5 or something.
That's how I remember it too, but that's how good stories go.
Yeah, maybe these were shuffled. It says it's in the order though. I don't know.
Well,
the Dream Trawler in the Mega Draft. Oh,
amazing!
Yeah.
Amazing.
If you need a little help, just open up one of the best limited cards ever.
Yeah, and then it was just like you also played it a bunch. Like it was like you got it out a lot. Like, um, it was a thing of beauty, man.
Chris, do you
It
have any
was.
think I
final do you have any
cascaded.
final reminiscences you want to share? Chris,
Anything, Chris?
No, I mean it was just let's get one once a year or something on the docket. I love these tournaments, and I know that John has the microphone every week, and he talks about how much these team things stress him out. Not me, not me. I love these.
I must have missed the part in the podcast where he returns this every week and says working with
Every
Chris
week.
was the most stressful experience of my Magic career.
Yeah, keep them coming. I think they're great.
I couldn't have been that bad if Chris wants to come back and do another one. So
I'll do it again.
All right, gents. Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you. We're creeping up towards our closing time, so appreciate you taking the time to reminisce with me about a tournament that's a couple years in the past now, but I think still relevant. And according to 2 out of 3 of us, is due for a comeback.
I think so. Bring it back. I think we're ready for another team league of some
ready.
kind. Like I think we're ready. I think it's time. It's been a while. It's been over a year, a couple seasons. It feels like.
Bring back the partners.
Bring it back. I'm ready.
Bring them back.
Okay, gents. Thanks for your time. It's been a pleasure. Bye for now.
Bye, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.